it'll only be built in tiny numbers. It's going to be less than £100,000. That's 8,000 less than the Ferrari and 17,000 less than the Lamborghini Gallardo.
Love this thing.
Now, this is an original, which is really a British car.
Yeah.
That is an all-American supercar.
No.
That's not an all-American supercar.
No. You're absolutely right. They say this is an all-American car. It isn't. In fact, the steering comes from an Aston Martin Vanquish. The brakes are Italian. A couple of guys from Lotus did the suspension. The body's British. It's not American.
Yeah, but these
at
are
all.
Technicalities. We're talking about the nation that won the Battle of Britain.
Absolutely. Ben Affleck did that on his own.
And they rescued Europe from Sir Winston Hitler.
They did. And what made it particularly good was when I was driving around Detroit in that thing, everyone you see, all four of them, they're, hey, nice Ferrari! Every single one of them.
Now, just tell me, can I go and buy this from a Ford dealer in Britain?
Not this. This is an old one. This is about £350,000. But you can walk into a dealer in Barnsley tomorrow, slap down your £90,000, £100,000, whatever it's going to cost, and you can buy one of those things.
Would you?
Yeah.
In Barnsley?
Yeah, I'd be even more fun. Actually, if I do decide to get one, and I'm sort of the whole thing, I will buy it from Barnsley. Whoever the dealer is in Barnsley, I'm on my way, probably. Ford GT, the new one.
That's a chicken.
Let me hear some opinions on this. What do you think?
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero?
Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero.
No, we got one over here.
Seriously uncool. Needs to be in light blue and orange.
Yeah, but
I'll be Sub-Zero.
OK, if it were light blue and orange, you're referring to the Gulf colours.
Absolutely.
I can match your anorak levels here easily.
Thank you.
Then it would be OK.
It would be Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero, if you get the colours right, it's a good point. Anyone over here got opinions on the Ford GT?
It's a very cool car.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Pretty cool.
Not a democracy here. You're cool.
No, you're wrong! No, that's wrong. Now, look, if this were a Ferrari, I think well, I'd be with you, they might disagree. But it's not a Ferrari. It's got a kind of retro something. It's like those 70s shades with the holes down the side and the big... It's cool. That is a cool car.
If you were to turn up to someone's house in a red American car with white stripes down the side, they'd pretend to be out.
You're talking about the Starsky and Hutch car. This is a retro supercar. It's essentially cool.
Right. There is just one proviso on that. If I buy one, it'll be moving up a bit.
Funny that.
All right?
Funny that.
Come on, best-looking cars, then.
What TVR?
Who said TVR? Oh, it's Ray Charles has joined us this week. We think we've worked this one out. 3 best-looking cars ever. Ford GT40.
I do agree with that.
Yes,
actually, yeah.
all nod. Yes, Aston Martin DB7.
Yeah, again, you're right.
What do you mean? Who said no?
Order.
You said no. Why?
Because you're always on about it. You like it too much. You know, it's an Aston and it's Ford, you know.
This is a man with a two-tone beard who's come along here to tell us about style. Anyway, let's get back to it. My point is, DB7, Ford GT40,
yes.
And this.
I think you're right. Reluctantly,
Yes,
I think you're right.
thank you. This. I'd just like to say at this stage, if I may, that the Ford Fusion, we've been very unkind about it in recent weeks. I think it's a very good car. The Ford C-Max, which is a slightly taller version of the Focus, is a great car.
Really? Jeremy, would this have anything to do with this missive that we received in the Top Gear office recently?
What is that?
It's about the Ford GT. Apparently, 2,150 people have put the name down to buy one of these.
Yeah.
Including you.
Yeah.
But Ford have announced in this that only 101 GTs will now be brought into use.
Oh, I didn't know that.
More to the point, they're not going to decide. They're not going to decide who gets one by pulling names out of a hat. Oh no, they're going to decide just to let them go to people they like.
Oh, really?
People who perhaps haven't
I was unaware of that.
People who maybe haven't said nasty things about their car.
Jeremy, I'm wondering if you are the same Jeremy Clarkson who said, I'd rather go to work on my hands and knees than drive there in a Ford Galaxy.
No, I was young and foolish when I wrote that.
Whoever designed the Ford Galaxy upholstery had a cauliflower fixation.
Again, I've grown up a lot. I can now see the Galaxy as a
I would rather have a vasectomy than buy a Ford Galaxy.
I repudiate, reject absolutely any suggestion that I'm going to compromise my professionalism and suck up to Ford just so that I can get one of those. Okay, got that clear? The cool wall. Where do we think...
Hold on a minute. Jeremy, all the Fords have moved to Sub-Zero. All of them.
Yeah, it's a fluid thing, the cool wall. As you know, it's never anything fixed. And I looked at them, I thought they're nice cars.
Really, I'll tell you what, they're moving back. It's that fluid. That's ridiculous.
No, look, I want to make it absolutely plain. I'm not doing this. If anybody's watching from, like, Dagenham, I'm not responsible for that, OK? Can I talk about the GT40 now?
Yes.
Good. You see, over the years, a number of kit car manufacturers have made copies of it. They've been kind of plastic facsimiles with that Rover V8 engine that you were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. Some had the Mustang engine as well, and to be honest, some were pretty good.
I mean, these are very good indeed.
Fantastic.
But now, Ford themselves has had a go at making a copy. So think of it really as a GT40 for the 21st century. The old car was called the GT40 because it's 40 inches tall. Look, it isn't even as high as my legs. And as a result of that, I've never been able to fit inside. Let me show you the extent of the problem. OK, you have to kind of thread your legs between the steering wheel and the gear lever. There we go. OK, I've got my knees under the dash, my feet are on the pedals, but technically, you have to say I'm not really in the car. No. It's kind of a fat peg and a small hole, really. Happily, however, the new car is 43 inches tall, which means I can fit inside, and that means I can take it for a drive. Bye.
Has it not got a very big tank then?
No, 17.5 gallon fuel
and you
tank.
used all of that going around our track?
Yeah.
So what does it do to the gallon then, Jeremy?
4.
Sorry?
4.
4 miles to the gallon. Seriously, 4 miles to the gallon.
Ford say, though, that if I'd been a bit more careful, I might have got it up to 12 or...
Ooh, 12. You're not going to be careful anyway. Look at it. That's the whole point of the car. And actually, 17.5 gallon tank, 4 miles to the gallon. How far does that mean you can go? You'll be able to go in your car before you run out of petrol.
75 miles.
75 miles?
Yeah.
Well, how far then do you live, for instance, from the Top Gear office?
76 miles.
Actually, it gets worse than that, because you know how he said, oh, I never want to get out of it. James and I have had to think about this. We don't think he'll be able to get into it. Let me demonstrate. James, come on in. OK, now let's assume this is Jeremy's GT, parked in an ordinary multi-storey car park, anywhere you might see on an ordinary day, and James is parked up perfectly sensibly next to it. That's perfectly acceptable.
No, that is a very considerate piece of parking. I've left plenty of space. I haven't bashed this bloke's posh sports car as I've got out.
Not in any way. So, James got out of there, no problem. How are you going to get in there? For a start, you'll have to leave your shopping behind because there's no room in there at all.
You just open the door
and get
then,
in your car.
And then you go...
You can't possibly get... Look, I mean, I'm sorry, the door has got a roof.
Yeah, you got to go...
No, it's just...
under the roof.
What has he bought?
Right, I think what's happened here is Jeremy has bought a car he can't get into.
Yeah.
If he could get into it, he couldn't go anywhere because he'd run out of fuel. And even if he could get there, he couldn't take his briefcase because it hasn't got a boot. He really hasn't thought it through.
No,
Jeremy,
and actually, I mean, let's just talk about this 4 miles. No, you see, Jeremy, that doesn't count.
No, you're not in the car.
It's not really a driving
You can't
position.
drive it with your buttons.
I just want to get back to this fuel consumption. 4 miles to the gallon. I mean,
Yeah,
what
no,
does
no.
that work out at, like,
Well,
in
that
time?
works. Let me just get my head around this. Fuel costs, that
Yeah.
means it's £1 a mile in fuel,
Yeah.
doesn't it? That's just in fuel.
Do you know, I was really, I thought it was hilarious when they announced that it was going to be delayed and he'd have to wait for his GT. I thought that was great news. Actually, it can't arrive quick enough and start ruining his life. I can't wait. I've got some old jerry cans on my Land Rover. You could strap those to it, maybe with fuel in.
Jealousy is a cruel mistress.
It's not as cruel as OPEC.
Yeah, so if you're 7, you can go to bed now, because the rest of the show's just full of, really boring, grown-up stuff.
Not all of it, actually.
Well, we're doing the news now, so...
That's the bit I'm thinking of. You know why.
I know where this is going, don't I?
Oh, I'm going to do it.
Oh, God.
Indeed, the news. And this, just in from Vauxhall, it seems that the Vectres...
It doesn't matter, because there's only one big bit of news this week. Now, Jeremy, where are you? In fact, come on in. There's no point...
I'm not coming out.
There's no point avoiding this, mate.
I'm not
We're going to talk
coming
about
out.
it. You will remember, last week on Top Gear, we saw Jeremy's new car. His Ford GT finally arrived. He was very proud of it. Who'd like to see what happened when Jeremy set off home in it after the show? Who'd like to see it? Yeah, that's the right decision. Now, have a look at this. Now, here he is. You'll see he's not actually moving at all, and there's a very good reason for that.
It's a day old, and you push the engine start button. What you'll notice here is, look, James is helping me try to mend it while I'm on the phone to Ford. And Hammond, what did he do to help? He went home. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, enjoy our... Yep, my little wooden Morgan functioning perfectly. You look quite sad there, mate. And a bit cross. Now,
It's
can I
not
point out,
funny.
it is, and the crew were laughing at you, not with you. I want you to know that. You had to put the car away, but it wasn't that bad because you did get transport home eventually.
Yes. A Toyota Corolla Verso. Is what I wanted to get me home there.
Not quite the stylish exit you'd hoped for, was it?
No,
really?
did you read in the papers this week about short people? It was in all the stories. Basically, you're rubbish in bed and you're useless at work.
Come on, don't get off the subject. What was wrong?
It was the immobiliser. The car's fine, okay? It was the immobiliser. You know that little flipper thing?
Yeah.
Wouldn't unimmobilise the engine. So it had to go back to Ford.
Did it?
Yes,
And then
it
they
did.
fixed it, and it's...
Yes, and then they brought it back, and the night they brought it back 2 days later at 3 o'clock in the morning, the alarm went off.
No.
Then again at 4.
Oh, wait.
Then the next night at 11.
Did it wake you up?
Yeah.
And the kids?
Yeah.
And the dogs?
Yeah.
Oh. So what?
So, and
Ford
then
now-
this is when it gets really good, okay? I had to take it back to Ford. The alarm keeps blowing for no reason. So on my way back, it's got one of those tracker things on it, you know, where if somebody steals it, it automatically sends out an SOS. They rang me up, the tracking people, and said, your car's been stolen.
You were in it?
Yeah. No, it's all right, I'm in it. So I don't know why they just rang me up and said, your car's been stolen, and what's your password? Who knows their password? Does anyone here know their password? I don't know. Well, we're gonna... And they can remotely shut the car down. So he's
Really?
like, if you shut this down, I'm going to come there, I'm going to eat your heart. I had no idea what my password was.
So did he stop it?
No, he didn't. I finally got it back to Ford, and then I picked it up again yesterday, last night. got it
Finally, it's
back.
mended, hurrah!
No,
You're joking.
I'm not. Got in it this morning to come down here. Ring, ring! Your car's been stolen. No! It hasn't. And then again and again. Honestly, I've got my phone here, okay? I've got my phone. They send you a text, okay, when it's been stolen. Look at this, okay? Read. Look at that. Theft alert. The car was stolen at 8:49 a.m., 8:22 a.m., 7:22 a.m.
Oh, dear.
It was stolen 5 times on the way
That's
down here this morning.
unfortunate.
5 times.
So they're going to fix it eventually?
Yes, if you don't mend it, I'm going to bone your dog. It's taken all the bones out of my dog.
Mind you, they gave you a courtesy car, didn't they?
Yes, they gave me a courtesy car.
And it
Here's
was?
my Ford, it's broken. I thought it'll be a DB9. I mean, they are, you know, Ford own
Same,
Aston,
yeah.
Range Rover. No, it was a Focus Estate with a diesel engine.
I love that. 2 years wait for a Focus Estate diesel.
And a big alarm clock.
Right, James, have you got any more news
Yes,
that
I
isn't
have.
anything to do with my Ford?
Yes, it's that time of year again, time for the Top Gear Motoring Survey.